What is up, my Sabronis? This is episode 4 of the Sabo Steering podcast, and just trying to, as we maneuver into weeks of college football in the NFL, just trying to figure out, the best way to push some of this content out, doing things that don't just seem unnatural, but things that also fit the way I want to do things, but at the same time, too, not just trying to force a bunch of crap. Right, so last week I kind of had the idea of doing a Thursday night show, doing some things like college football picks and NFL picks, and it just didn't work out. Just not something that, like, as I record it and look at it the next day, it's like it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit what I'm trying to do, and so still trying to honestly, realistically figure that out. Within the sense of like, I want to do a weekly thing like this. This is episode 4. We're talking NFL week 1 tonight. We're talking college football week 2. That's gonna be weekly. The second episode every week, maybe that's more of the just talking about whatever to kind of talk about things. If I get guests, hopefully sooner rather than later, that's where those guest episodes are going to be. And then the history episodes is something I really, really want to do. Taking a lot of time to make those good, to put a lot of effort into those. And then those are going to almost be its own separate channel. And you guys will kind of see that idea as we get closer to it. But those are, I'm putting in time, putting some effort to make those good. I got a lot of big things that I'm just trying to get done, trying to make, like I said, planned out. And so that process is just in the works. So, I just ask for patience. I also just continue to ask for your support. If you're watching this right now, I do appreciate you. I'm grateful for you. Thank you. And, I hope you enjoy it. Let's get into NFL week 1, college football week 2. Again, it's the greatest time of the year. We got football every single day. It is time. Let's get into it.
Samuel cuts it back. Ohio State wins. Hannum steps into it. Pass is caught. Diggs! Sideline! Touchdown! Unbelievable! Pulls up three-pointer. Bang! Bang! It's good!
The standard is the standard. That's our motto.
All right, what a cool first weekend of football every single day. Thursday night football, obviously the first game of the year, the Eagles-Cowboys. I really expected the Eagles to kind of blow that game out of the water. Cowboys played really well. Eagles didn't have Jalen Carter from basically the first snap on, and Dallas definitely took advantage of it. They played well. They really surprised me. Does it guarantee you a lot of games in the future that they win? No, but they definitely can play with anybody at any single point. The Eagles do Eagles things, and even since then they've made a few trades. They're always trying to get that roster better. They played really well, and they look like a team that won the Super Bowl last year. They look like a team that can make the playoffs, which is what I predicted that they would do. And that division's gonna be really good because the Commanders are really good. The Cowboys can play with anybody at any single day, and the Giants. There's talent there. They got a good defense. Who knows what follows up with that? So. Then even Friday hits, you get the Chargers Chargers and Chiefs. Not a game that I was able to watch. Obviously, if I am a high school football coach. We had a game, went very well for the Tigers of Galleon, and but missed a Friday night football game that we did not get to see. Got home, cut the very end of it, and Chargers honestly shocked me on that one. I really expected the Chiefs to come out there, play a little bit better than what they did. Losing Xavier Worthy early on really hurt them. And Mahomes, they got some things to figure out still, but they're a good team, and I really expect the Chiefs to play well, and the Chargers, like, that's how they're going to play this year. They're going to win some games also. Very gritty, and able to kind of pull away at the end. And then Saturday hits, and you just get this great weekend of college football. When there wasn't games that should have been spectacular, kind of going through it last week, obviously, you had your Ohio States playing Grambling. You had your Penn State playing FIU. You had a lot of teams play those FCS and Group of 5 teams, and even then there were some upsets, and there were some games that set up for a really good week 3. And so we're just kind of going to run through the Saturday slate. I got it right here in front of me, going through each important game, some key things, and what I like, what I didn't like, and talk about some of those things that I was wrong on. Because, my goodness, like, there's teams like Kansas State, I hit in the playoff, and just complete mess. Clemson, they're one loss away from being a complete mess, and they got Georgia Tech next week. And so we'll see, what that kind of follows. And like I said, the teams that I liked that aren't so hot, and teams that I was a little low on. Like Oregon. Oregon has completely surprised me. Oregon is really good. I should have given them their flowers early on. They've played really well so far. Miami, they got USF this week. USF is really, really good football team. They beat Boise State, number 25, last week in week 1, and then they beat Florida in the swamp week 2. So they've got some good wins on their schedule. If Miami can continue to win those games, Miami might be the favorite in the ACC. Anyway, so we got Ohio State to start. They played Grambling. Obviously, it was a 70-0 game. Nobody expected Grambling to be able to win that game. The final line ended up being 54.5. Obviously, Ohio State covered. They covered big. A few things. Saying did exactly what I couldn't expect him to do in week 2. They weren't going to make him be the one to beat Texas. But after that, this game, OU next week, let Sayin be the guy. Throw the ball all over the field. Let him make those reads. Let him make mistakes. They did that. He played well. Jeremiah Smith finished with 5 receptions, 119 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I honestly wish they would have fed him more. Kind of pad those stats right now if you're really trying to make a Heisman run later on. And the guy that really, really, really impressed me the most, and maybe because it was such a disappointing with our running backs week 1, but Bo Jackson, the freshman out of the school in Cleveland, he came in. I obviously was against Grambling State. It was with his second team offense, but Bo Jackson ran the ball well. He's a guy by the end of the season. He's going to be in Ohio State's rotation. I guarantee it because he was that explosive. He ran the ball that good, and he was fun to watch. He was the most fun running back on the field all day long. Penn State 34-0 FIU. Good shout out for them. Penn State's hard to judge. Until they play somebody, they're hard to judge. They're going to win all those games that they should win. It's when you play the best teams, the Ohio States, the Oregons, those we're going to judge how good you are. LSU 23-7, a little shaky with Louisiana Tech. You expect LSU to score a lot more points than that against Louisiana Tech, but coming off a big win off Clemson, I give them a little bit of leeway. Georgia, even with Austin Peay, Georgia only won 28-6, so it's not like the SEC teams are completely running away with all these wins. But at the end of the day, a win's a win. Those FCS schools, those smaller FBS schools, they like to show up and give teams a hard time, and they did that. Miami 45-3. I expected that. Oregon 69-3 on Oklahoma State. I thought Oklahoma State was going to be a little bit better than this, but it's embarrassing for them right now. Texas, San Jose State 38-7. Arch threw for 4 touchdowns. Looked better overall than obviously versus Ohio State week 1. That's a game that people kind of same like Ohio State. Let him go out there now and air it out and just see what you can do. And then Clemson. 27-16 with Troy. Troy was up 16-0 at one point. Clemson ended up, they really showed their colors and came back. Scored 17 in the third quarter to, take the lead overall and end up winning that game. But Clemson shouldn't struggle with Troy like that. They are better than that. And it just always seems to be when I finally am like, hey, Clemson's going to be okay. Clemson's going to be good. Then they go and do Clemson things and lose. South Carolina 38-10 over South Carolina State. The big one, Illinois 45-19. I've got a little fun fact for you. Illinois is one of 6 Power 5 schools that have never hosted College Game Day. Very soon on, in 4 or 5 weeks, Ohio State comes to Illinois. Illinois's got Indiana between now and then. They got a few other, Big Ten games. I don't know if Illinois can win those games, but I'm telling you if they do, Ohio State takes care of business with OU, bye week, Washington, it's one more game after that, and then Illinois. If both teams are undefeated, Ohio State heads to Champaign. It might be the first time College Game Day ever goes to Champaign for definitely what will be a top 10 matchup at that point. Good for Illinois like that. Good for them to, win games. Brett Bielema has that team playing really, really well, and they put a 45 on a good Duke team. Duke went out. They paid money for a quarterback this offseason. Duke was one of those teams that could win 8 games in the ACC, and not only did they get beat by Illinois coming into their place, but Illinois whooped them. They pulled away in the second half. It was not close. The next one, freaking Arizona State. That was a team I had in the playoff. They were my Big 12 champs. They go to Mississippi State, who last year might have been one of the worst teams in SEC history, and Arizona State goes there. The cowbell was too much for them. Too much. It was more cowbell, more cowbell, more cowbell. Mississippi State gets it done. Obviously, Arizona State has everything in front of them. You go win the Big 12, you are in the playoff. But right now, the 2 teams I picked, Kansas State, Arizona State, are not very good. Iowa State probably would be my favorite at that point. Utah played really well in week 1. Those are the teams that are probably going to win the Big 12 now at this point. first big upset, obviously of the day. One of the biggest upsets of the season so far. South Florida beating Florida. I mean, not only did they beat them, but they went in the swamp and they beat them, and they dominated them. They were physical with them. They did not let DJ Lagway, who I was really high on to do good things this season, beat DJ Lagway. Florida's got a very tough schedule coming up. They got LSU, they got Miami. I think they have Georgia. I mean, they have a lot of these really high end SEC teams, and then Miami within the next few weeks, and even some of the mid tier SEC teams that they're going to play might be better than them. On a team that I expected some good things on, very much disappointed. If you're a Florida fan, you are not feeling good right now about your season, about your coach, about your team, and it might be a very long year in Gainesville. Florida State 77-3 over East Texas A&M. I mean, I'm not shocked by it. Maybe shocked by the amount of points still. Castellanos has just put another great performance up. Only 8 for 11. Didn't need to do much, obviously, against East Texas A&M. But I'm really excited for Florida State. I'm really excited for the things that they can do going forward. They really might be my ACC team. If you look at the rest of the schedule, I mean, the toughest games for Florida State the rest of the way are Miami at home on October 4th, and then at Clemson November 8th, and then Florida at home. And Florida, we just talked about, might not be that good. So Florida State definitely has a chance to win a lot of games this year. And after that week one win versus Bama, it was kind of like, okay, this is their bounce back year. Last year was just a fluke overall, unlike what a lot of people predicted. And they played well these last 2 weeks, and I expect them to continue to play well going forward. Michigan, Oklahoma, finally the big one, the biggest matchup of the week, came down to, it almost felt like Oklahoma should have won that game, like 45-7. It could have been 35-7 at one point. Really, Oklahoma let Michigan stay in it too long, but Oklahoma played really, really well on offense. John Mateer comes out of Washington State. If you're Washington State, you got to be sick. I mean, 2 years in a row, you're losing guys to these bigger schools. Obviously, Cam Ward goes to Miami last year. First overall pick, Heisman contender. John Mateer goes to Oklahoma, and he really just feels like a guy that can, play well all season and help rebuild that program. I thought that he was the best player on that football field that day, and he was, one of the big reasons why Oklahoma played so well on offense. The play calling was really good, and he was just explosive the entire night. And if you got to watch his interview at the end, just seems like a good kid who loves football and has embraced the Oklahoma fan base as his own. Really, really, really fun game. And it's not the end of the world for Michigan. If they play like that every week, they're not going to win a lot of games. And if Oklahoma plays like that every week, they're going to win a lot of games. The rest of it, the Baylor 48-45 over SMU. Texas A&M took care of business. Ole Miss gets revenge on Kentucky 30-23. Alabama puts up 73 points against UL Monroe, which UL Monroe was the team in Saban's first year that had the big upset. It was the last time he had lost to a non-conference unranked team. And so they put up 73, more teams than they ever put up in the Bama era. Tennessee looked really good against East Tennessee State. Tennessee's another one. Like, until they play somebody, and they do this week, they play Georgia, we're really going to know how good they are. Indiana taking care of business 56-9. I mean, I'm telling you, Indiana on their schedule, it's like Illinois. And that's it. If Indiana wins that game, they're going to win the rest. They'll be in the playoff again. They lose to Illinois. Like, that might be all they need to not be one of those top 12 teams. And then Utah 63-9. That's two big blowouts for Utah. Again, until they play somebody worth of substance, it's really hard to gauge. But so far, they've beat who's in front of them. They beat who they're supposed to beat. They've played the way that they're supposed to play, and they're setting themselves up in a position to win a lot of games and compete in the Big 12, and for them, get a playoff spot. So as we look forward to Week 3, it's just some of these big games. Again, I don't want to spend too much time. This is recapping, looking back, but just, again, this weekend was fun. This weekend, the teams that won set up some big games, some big matchups for themselves, and the teams that, might not be as good as we thought. This is really going to find out. Clemson, Georgia Tech. Like, if Clemson loses this game, they're done. Their playoff chance is done. Doesn't exist unless they win the ACC, but I don't think they do if they lose this game to Georgia Tech. Wisconsin, Bama. Like, Wisconsin bounced back, or Wisconsin's 2-0 against a Bama team that bounced back. Wisconsin hasn't played anybody. This is their first true test in Tuscaloosa. It'll be very, very, very interesting. Georgia, Tennessee, 6 Georgia, 15 Tennessee. The game is in Knoxville. I think Tennessee gets it done. You guys know I'm not high on Georgia this year. Only scoring 28 against Austin Peay doesn't impress me, and so Tennessee goes into Georgia, beats them down pretty good. Texas, UTEP, not that it's a great matchup, but I expect Arch to play well. Miami, South Florida on the CW Network, the biggest game CW Network's ever had. Miami's going to win it, but if you said South Florida wins, it's a 17.5-point spread. I'm not surprised. South Florida's going to compete with them, make it a game. I hope they beat them. I think it'd be awesome. Ohio State's got Ohio. Not like that matters. Ohio State's going to take care of it. Florida, LSU. Florida needs this win. I don't think they do it. I think LSU gets it done. And then Texas, Notre Dame. What a fun game. Notre Dame didn't play last week, so they're 0-1. If they start the season 0-2 as defending runner-ups, a lot of mean, sad, mad people in Notre Dame. Texas A&M 2-0. They need a win to keep any hope in the SEC alive, just to be one of those best teams. Right now, they're not in that upper echelon yet. You beat Notre Dame at Notre Dame, you can have that conversation. All right, let's segue to the NFL and just talk about Week 1 of the NFL and some of the big games that I really liked. I'm not going to brush over every single game in too much detail. I'm not a red zone guy. I try to pay attention to everything, know who did well, and kind of have an idea how games go. If I don't have that much of an idea, I'm not going to talk too much about it. But obviously we talked about the Cowboys, Eagles, the Chiefs, Chargers. Let's get to Sunday. The first game, Bucks, Falcons. Buccaneers got it done 23-20. Penix, 298 and a touchdown. I expected the Buccaneers to win. Emeka Egbuka with a cool game-winning touchdown, first one of the season for him, first one of his career. Obviously, we root for Ohio State guys around here. Bengals, Browns. Guys, I said to everybody that the Browns were going to lose this game. I did not expect the Browns losing this game by only holding the Bengals to 17 and only scoring 16. If you're a Browns fan, you are sick to your stomach that you do not have a kicker. Still, after all these years, get a kicker. You might win some games. And Bengals to only put up 17 is crazy. 6 yards of offense or something like that, or 16 yards of offense. Either way, on off ridiculous amount of the second half. Embarrassing by the Bengals. We expected more for that from the offense, and overall the Browns played well, just not well enough. Didn't kick enough. The Dolphins, the Colts, I told you the Dolphins are a dumpster fire. I told you the Dolphins have no juice. I told you the Dolphins just are going to look flat, and they did. If you're the Dolphins, McDaniel's probably going to be gone. You're probably going to move on from Tua this year. Tyreek Hill's going to get traded at some point. I mean, it just doesn't feel like anybody wants to be there. The Colts, who are not great, dominated them 33-8, jumped on them early, gave them no hope. Danny Dimes looked like a Pro Bowl quarterback, and that must be really hard to do unless you're the Dolphins and you're that bad. Raiders, Patriots. Raiders went to Foxborough, got it done. 1-0 in Pete Carroll era. 0-1 for Vrabel and the Patriots to start the season. Still think the Patriots are going to win some games. They'll be okay. Cardinals, Saints, battle of two just really not great teams. The Saints give the ball to Kamara, and if you're a fantasy holder of Kamara, I hope that he gets you points because that's going to be the only bright spot. Just not fun game. Steelers, Jets. Obviously, this is the one that I watched. If you know me, big time Steelers fan. But this was a game that, the Jets really surprised me. The Jets surprised me a lot. I expected the Jets to, not be great on defense and be okay on offense. Justin Fields looks like a quarterback that we've been saying that Steelers fan or that Buckeyes fans that watched him play for 2 years knew that he could be. He avoided sacks. He got out of the pocket. He threw balls on the run. He threw really good balls on the run to receivers. Garrett Wilson, 7 catches, 95 yards, and a touchdown. Breece Hall ran the ball really well, 19 carries, 107 yards. I mean, their offense did everything they could to win this game. They were up by like 15 at one point or something, and the Steelers score, and then do what Steelers teams do. They force a fumble on the kickoff return and get it back. Aaron Rodgers threw 4 touchdowns. Defense played really bad. For a Steelers defense where they're paying a lot of guys, TJ Watt, Jalen Ramsey, Cam Hayward, a lot of big money. They could not stop the ball, whether it was run game or pass game. They let Breece Hall run all over them. They let Fields scramble all over them. They let Fields throw all over them. The secondary got a little injured, a little hurt, but it should have been better than that. It should not come down to a Boswell 60-yard field goal, and I knew as soon as he lined up for it, he was going to win it, he's going to kick it, he was going to make it, but it should not come down to that. But I also think it's a testament to the Jets being good. Steelers defense isn't great, but the Jets offense was better. I think the Jets, after watching that game, they could definitely be a playoff team. Like, they can win some games, they can make the playoffs. Justin Fields, if he plays like that, that's how people expect him to play when he got drafted. I'm happy for him. I don't love all the smack talking between my favorite team and then a team full of guys that I root for, the Garrett Wilsons, Justin Fields, but it's football. I hope Fields and I hope Garrett Wilson do some good things this year. I think they're going to win quite a few games. Giants Commanders only scored 21 in a game where I expected a little bit more. Jayden Daniels is my MVP pick, but I think he'll get there by Thursday night. They play the Packers week one of Amazon Thursday Night Football. I expect the Commanders to bounce back and to play better. Jags Panthers 26-10. Travis Etienne looked like Travis Etienne of old, so good for him. And the Panthers are a dumpster fire. I still don't see the Jags winning a lot of games. Broncos 20, Titans 12. This game was closer than what I thought it was going to be. I think the spread was like 8.5, so they didn't cover either. But I expected kind of more of a blowout. I don't think the Titans are very good. At one point, Cam Ward was like 3 for like 12 or something it was like 14. I mean, it was not good. So I expect the Broncos to win a little bit more. I think the Broncos are better than just an 8-point win over the Titans. But, maybe they're not that solid. Niners, Seahawks. Niners get that one done 17-13. McCaffrey had like over 100 total yards between rushing and receiving. Kittle got hurt early, and then the fact that the Niners were still able to put up 10 points in the fourth, take that game away from the Niners at the end, maybe it's just a testament of both teams not being good. You guys know I'm not high on the Niners. Rams, Texans. Rams got that one of 14-9. Again, just not as much scoring as what we expected. Sometimes week one, those teams don't score much. But then you go watch like the Ravens-Bills game, which we're going to talk about in a second. It's like, yeah, these teams can't score at will at any point. One of the worst games by C.J. Stroud that he's played in his career. He had a sophomore slump last year. And I hope that he bounces back. I hope he has a good season. I hope he has a great season. I expect more than 9 points from a team with C.J. Stroud and Nico Collins and Nick Chubb, and I know Mixon's out, but there's guys there. There's enough talent there to win games. In the last two games I'm going to talk about today, the Packers Lions, guys. I don't know what's going on with the Lions. I told you that was going to be a much different offense, a much different defense. I think the Packers are good. The Packers adding Micah Parsons make them a very good defense. The fact that the Lions only scored 13 and 7 of it was in a last-minute touchdown. I mean, it's crazy. It's kind of insane that the Packers were able to hold them down that much, and it's just insane on the Lions and that they weren't able to score a lot of points or really any at all. I expect the Lions to bounce back. I still expect the Packers to win a lot of games too, but like this might be the Packers division to lose. I mean, this seriously, you get that first one at home versus that team coming off 15 wins last year. It's the Packers division to lose right now, and the Lions, they got to step up. They got to start playing better. And then obviously the game of the weekend, both NFL college football, Bills-Ravens. Bills get that done 41-40 on a last-second field goal. Just big time from everybody. Josh Allen, Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, the three big names, they all showed out. They all played extremely, extremely well. The Ravens just completely choked that game away. And, kudos to the Bills. They found a way to win. They found a way to win when they were down 15, and they shouldn't have done it. The Ravens are kind of notorious now for blowing these games. But at the same time, too, like, the fact that they can put 40 on first night of the season shows how explosive that offense is. It might be the best offense in the NFL. The receivers aren't great. Zay Flowers is a very good receiver. Is he the best number one in the league? No. D-Hop made a great pass, but when your run game is Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson, I mean, you're just filthy. I don't want to change my prediction of the Steelers not win the division, but it might come down to that. The Ravens might be the best team in that division. They're going to win that division probably, and the Bills are really, really, really good. I'm not going to get too much again into like the next week games. I just do know that, obviously the big game of the week, besides Commanders Packers, is the Lions and Ravens. That is a Monday night game, and both those teams really need a win. They need a win desperately in a really bad way. It's gonna be very interesting to see who wins that game and how they respond. And then obviously Rams Eagles is another big one. Both those teams are 1-0. Rematch of the divisional round. Those are 3 games that I really like for this upcoming week that we will recap next Monday night. So, like I said, we are going to kind of do these every week, just looking back at the big games that we liked, talk about the games that we like going forward, and recap those every week. I'm excited about that. I hope, again, Wednesday night, Thursday night this week to kind of get something else out, recorded, ready, and, just able to give out something that helps builds this thing. I really appreciate the support. Again, if you're watching this, if you've made it this far, appreciate you for listening. Share this link with somebody that loves football. Help me grow this thing, and let's just continue to have a good time talking college football, talking NFL. If there's ever anything that you want me to talk about, that you want to hear, please let me know. Give me feedback. Give me anything. Give me some tips, some pointers. I'm all ears, all open to try to just make this thing the best thing we can, make this grow. I appreciate you just trying to set a standard because, like Mike Tomlin always says, the standard is the standard.